I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we are talking about the less fortunate of the world. We are joined today by Michael Ryer. He is the CEO of Amigos Internacionales, a 55-year-old nonprofit humanitarian aid organization currently developing children's homes in Uganda, specifically to rescue children from sex trafficking. Michael, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and share our story.
Our pleasure, of course. I think the audience needs to hear what you guys are doing in Uganda. Tell us a little bit about your work.
Well, we are, as you said, we're 55 years old, a humanitarian aid company. We started building mobile and medical clinics in the Valley, Texas Valley. And we've just been very busy for the last 55 years. It really started out in '67 as a one-year project, and it's still going 1 year at a time, all the way up to now. But right now in Uganda, we have several projects going on. We're really focusing on children. We are building a 150 child children's home that is in Jinja. It is going to be a Disney World in a sense for the kids. We want them to have a great time. I met with the Minister of Gender in Uganda, which is the #1 person in youth and children. Mm-hmm. And she said there's nothing like it in all of Uganda and possibly Africa. We're going to have a splash park. We're going to have goats and chickens and aquaponics, so the kids can not only, we rescue them, we're going to give them counseling, but we're actually going to give them chores and put them back into a family unit. To #1, our priority is to give them their childhood back, because most of them have been destroyed, but we're going to make them functioning members of society. Put them in a family, give them a little bit of chores, give them a great education, and return them back to society as functioning.
Wonderful. I mean, I think it's such a wonderful idea to not only just give them food and give them shelter, but to also nurture them as children, give them the things that will excite them, give them the things that will delight them, give them some of the things that they might have missed out upon already.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've already got children that have been the worst of the worst situations. A little boy that was pimped out by his prostitute mom when he was 10 years old. In a bar that she worked at until he was 13. He ran away from home, and we placed him in a home and been taking care of him. And there's just story after story after story of that. And we're wanting to change these children's lives for the better.
Tell me a little bit about the problem of sex trafficking in Uganda. Is it basically within the country itself? Is it like that example you gave of the mother pimping out her son to be raped? Is it organized by tribes or gangs? Tell me a little bit about it so the audience can understand.
Yes, and all of the above. You've got children that are 10, 11, 12 years old, girls that are sold to men for their second and third wives. That's a form of sex trafficking because they're actually sex slaves at that point. We've got an organization, a part of our organization in northern Uganda, where the children in Uganda aren't, they're required to go to school, but they have to pay for it. The government doesn't pay. It's not like the United States. So these kids, when they're orphans, they will go to school until they can't pay their fees, and they'll be sent home. And when the men find out they're sent home, they go find them, they take them out and abuse them for money. And then they beat the girls up in the woods, take the money back, and leave them out there bleeding. And that's another form. There are pimps, there are organizations, there's tribes, there's all of the above. And that's what we have committed ourselves to do. And I don't think there's anything like this in the world that we found, where we're going to take the worst of the worst situations. We're going to put them in counseling. We're going to even find some people that may not be the best people in the world that can help us with the police go into these gangs and rescue these kids, arrest the men, and give these kids their lives back.
Very, very noble work indeed. I know it must be very difficult working in these regions as well. Often the police and military are corrupt. What's it like trying to, build a home for 120 children in a land like this?
Well, we've been very fortunate. We've had some police that are very honest. We've been surrounded by people that we can trust. Again, I met with my last trip. I just got back from 20 days in Africa, and the day I was leaving at 5 o'clock in the morning, I got a request from the Minister of Gender, and she doesn't just meet with anybody. And she said, "I want to meet you at 9 o'clock." So I canceled my flight and got another one later, and I met with her so she could hear our story and what we're doing. And she was so impressed by it. She said, "I'm going to walk this project through myself all the way to completion." So we've been very, very fortunate to touch a lot of people's lives and have good people around us. So we've not really, there is a little corruption. Sometimes you have to pay a little bit more than you should. But we have been surrounded by the people that need to know what we're doing. And the mission itself is so compelling. People want to help us. People don't want to mess with us and hurt our chances of helping their kids.
What stage are you at in developing this home?
Well, we are in our final stage. We hope to have grand opening in sometime in 1st of January. We have our dorm about 3/4 built. You can go to our website at amigosii.org and see the plans are amazing. We've got our director's home almost complete. We're working with our amphitheater. We've got our welcome center. It's going to be a 2-acre plot of an oasis that we're going to have tropical plants. We've got net balls and soccer fields. We're going to have everything you can imagine. In fact, in our main dorm of 150 children, we're going to have a library there. In our schooling, we will have set up, we've already got volunteers from major universities that want to help our children with correspondence courses. So they will be via the internet. They will be training and teaching our kids. So we will give them job skills that they can take the rest of their life and get some quality education.
Amazing, amazing. How can people help? I'm sure money is needed, right?
Absolutely. We can always use money. We've actually got funding for the construction of the entire plant, but our issue is once we get them funded, we've got to put them in school. We've got to keep them in school. We're actually build our own school so we can continue the quality education that we need. We have a school in northern Uganda in Ogle Village, Open Hands Academy, 144 kids. We're about to expand that. But we're going to take that model that we've already established in northern Gulu and bring it down to Jinja. But we're going to feed these kids. We've got a goat farm up in Gulu. We're just buying meat goats and milk goats, and we'll have chickens and eggs, but we've got to feed these kids. If you walk around my office, you can see the pictures of children that we've affected the last 5-6 years we've been in Uganda. And I'm the word's not haunted, but I'm haunted by the fact that if I fail, these kids don't eat because they are completely 100% dependent on what we do and how we feed them and we educate them. So I can't fail. We're gonna do it. But funding is great. We're going to have mission trips or trips where people can come and they will help the children. We've got a medical facility there on site. We're not going to be removing kidneys, but we'll be able to take care of scraped knees, pharmaceuticals as doctors prescribe them. We'll have a nurse on site there as well as our counselors. And we'll have people coming in and doing that. And at the same time, they'll spend 3 or 4 days doing that, but then they'll do 2 or 3 days seeing the African animals and doing a safari kind of thing. So it's a lot of exciting. That's on our website as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's wonderful work. It's a truly worthwhile cause. The website for Amigos Internacionales is on your screen right now. You can reach out, you can make a donation, you can learn more about the great work that Michael Ryer and his team are doing right now. You can change a child's life and you can change the world. Michael, anything else you want to let the audience know before we say goodbye today?
Well, we're involved in a lot of things. We are in northern Uganda in the refugee camps coming from South Sudan. I was there near South Sudan, and the children had never seen light skin before. So they were all coming up and playing with the hair on my arms. and we're feeding them. We're drilling water wells there. The average African woman carries water 4.5 miles, 5 gallons of water, which is 41 pounds. You'll see them carrying it on their heads. We're drilling water wells so they don't have to do that. We're actually building schools these tribes up there are giving us land. If we promise a water well and a school, and we've got our third school going in and our 5th water well that we put in amongst these tribes. You see that on our website. So there's a lot more going on than just this, although the children's home is very, very needed, and that's our primary focus right now. There's a lot of other things we've got going on. So
well, they're all worthwhile causes, much needed in a region that is underserved and impoverished. Michael Ryer, thank you so much for joining us today on Spotlight.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate being here, and anything, you can always reach out to me on our website. I'm always here, available by the phone.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michael. And to the viewers at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.